Welcome back to Morgan's video blog with writing tips from the pros and, of course, my own writerly musings. Today I'm here with Writing the Fight Scene, a Balticon 2022 panel. These notes are from the titular panel. The panelists were D.A. Shaolin Spires, Danielle Ackley McPhail, Brandon Ketchum, and Wynne Spencer, with John Appel as moderator. The panel description was as follows: a good fight scene can improve the pacing of your novel, raise the stakes for your character, and add immediacy to your writing. But how do you do it well? How do you determine what weapons your character would use, and how do you convincingly portray that? Short of studying martial arts for 10 years and achieving a black belt, how do you research the combat skills so essential to a pulse pounding action scene? Now, as always, the panelists didn't necessarily get to everything in the description, but they did share a fair number of excellent tips. First off, let's start off with 7 things to remember when writing that fight scene. Number 1, emotionally set the fight up. Wrap the action with the point of view character's emotion. Number 2, keep the pacing fast. You can do this with short sentences, brief descriptions, keeping the poetic moments far and few between. You can do this by setting things up with explanations before that first hit. And you can also do it by keeping comments and observations to fragments to prevent slowing the pacing. Tip number 3 of things to think about: pay attention to what you are trying to accomplish. Is this a duel, a battle, an argument, fun banter? How serious is the scene, and how much do you want to do with it? Tip 4, use the fight to show the characters' personalities. Are they skilled and emotionally detached? They can fight with clinical precision. Are they mean? Make the fight hurt. Get in those extra hits when they've already won. Are they straightforward? Maybe they just try to punch their way through any obstacle, be it physical or metaphorically. Maybe they hate fighting. Do they run away? Do they judo throw off their attacker and then flee? Show the character. So, tip number 5, add the character's internal dialogue, their evaluation of the other fighter or fighters. Add the point of view characters' visceral reactions to the gore they might be seeing. Are they used to it? Does it sicken their stomach? Are they not sure how to see once their eyes are teared up in pain? That sort of thing. Tip number 6, what sort of weapons are being used? Different ones have different fail points. Do they have improvised weapons? Describe the location on the way in, so then when you get to grabbing the item, you don't have to slow down with description. Do they have named weapons? And one way to vary some of the description during the fight is to differentiate the weapon based on caliber or blade type or color, whatever you do. And number 7, don't forget about the effects of the fog of war. What do I mean by that? With the fog of war, typically characters are thinking their next move ahead, but perhaps not paying attention to the long game. The strategy is lost to the visceral here and now. So, we also talked about ways to differentiate fighters of different skill levels. For the untrained, you typically have fighters that fall on either side of the spectrum. They're either too timid or they come out flailing and use up all of their energy too soon. Lack of skills often has them telegraphing their moves to the experienced fighters. On the other hand, with skilled fighters, you typically get more calculated moves, more tactical use of the environment, getting the sun in their opponent's eyes, etc. Many choose to take that hit so they can get the win. Just a lot more precision and less surprise during the battles, typically. And do show the try-fail cycle, especially with like reoccurring villains. Show the heroes running away from the first fight, then show a stalemate, and then winning as they grow and learn. So, all that said, let's talk now about what pulls the reader out of the fight. Well, as we've mentioned before, long descriptions of world building to, I don't know, maybe explain the spell the character is casting while they're falling to their death. 3 pages. Super fancy moves that don't actually have that level of real world effectiveness. See, snapping necks, choking people to unconsciousness cleanly, with them waking up with just a headache. Um, Another thing is ignoring the terrain. Rocky terrain is rough on ankles. Another thing, not showing the physical drain, both energy wise and injury wise. You want to show the physical effects on the body. If they've got a torso or head wound, they're going to need an ER or something. But do show the wounds, etc., with realistic pacing. Gut wounds are going to take a minute to kick in, not. And the final thing you want to avoid is just ignoring physics. If you're going to redefine them, do so before the fight, but don't just ignore them. And of course, what is a panel without talking about our favorite iconic fight scenes? Some of the ones mentioned were Inigo versus Wesley in The Princess Bride, the last fight scene in Dune by Frank Herbert, Scaramouche by Raphael Sabatini, The Moon Knight with a K, the hallway fight in Daredevil, and the stairwell fight in Atomic Blonde. So, now that I've shared my tips that I got from this panel on fight scenes, let me know if there's anything major you think the panelists missed. And check out some of my other fight scene video blogs. I've attended similar panels in the past. So thank you for watching, and tune in again next week for more writing tips and writerly musings. Bye-bye.